Hi there, it's Cheryl Cran. In this weekly video, I want to talk about something that maybe you unconsciously are aware of, but perhaps we haven't talked about this, and maybe it's time for a conscious conversation around this. But have you noticed that what happens in teams sometimes is when there's breakdown of communication, when there's dysfunction in a team, it's typically because there's been a polarity created. And you all know what polarity is. Polarity is when we create tension between two opposites. So whether it's political polarity, whether it's gender polarity, whether it's values polarity. And so obviously, from a psychological standpoint, we all have our values, we all have our opinions, we all have our beliefs, and that's what makes us uniquely individual. However, when you look at team synergy and team dynamics, the best teams are able to navigate polarity. In other words, rather than get stuck in the opposites, they're able to really have a team of people who are curious, a team of people who are personally accountable for their own behavior, a team of people who, rather than get triggered by somebody who's got a polar opposite view or there's a polarity being created, they use it as an opportunity to investigate why they're being triggered. They use it as an opportunity to get more curious about that position. A lot of times polarity can actually, when harnessed, create creative solutions. It can actually create this opportunity to see that there's value to each of the positions that we see in a polarity position. So for example, a polarity might be someone within a group thinks that we have to move forward with a digital transformation and we have to do it now. And there's a group of people that follow that thinking. And then you might have somebody else on the team who wants to put on the brakes and say, no, we're going too fast. There's more research, there's more detail, there's more analysis that we have to do. What you've got there is a polarity in the team of direction, a polarity of strategy. And so what needs to happen is the people within the team need to see the merits of each of the positions. So what are the merits of moving forward quickly on digital transformation? What are the pros, if you will, of us doing this in a timely fashion? What are the merits of putting on the brakes? What are the merits of looking and analyzing at how we could do this in a much more effective way and not have to do a do-over? So it's the ability as a team individual to be able to navigate the ambiguity of polarity, being able to see multiple perspectives, being able to see situations and strategies from a variety of angles is going to be the key marker of a future-ready team. I want you to think about polarity in everyday life. I mean, politics is an obvious polarity between Democrat, Republican, polarity between gender, male, female, polarity between leader and employee. And when you look at it through the lens of, oh, what we have now is a polarity discussion going on, it helps to remove the emotions from the positions and to look at it much more objectively and with a much more keener eye towards there's got to be merit to each position. And how do we find a middle ground, if you will, or how can we find a go-ahead position? In the example of digital transformation, we want those viewpoints. One of the things we find at Next Mapping is taking surveys, going through the discover phase of our Next Mapping process where you assess can really help minimize polarities. So just doing a survey of the team before you even do a major change like a digital transformation so that you can know the mindsets of where everybody's at before you even go in either direction. Helping gather data in advance can help you minimize that polarity reaction. And the other piece that's really important with polarity is communication. So having a leader who understands the pain points of all positions and having that leader be able to speak to it in advance, being able to say, you know, we are making this strategic decision. We've gathered your input. Here's where we've landed. And then here's what we're going to do moving forward. That's going to help people shift out of polarity thinking and move into that we thinking. So polarity is me, my position, what I want, what I think is right. We is I have my position, but I'm willing to investigate and I'm willing to gather data. I'm willing to crowdsource to find out where we can go here so that we're not making everybody happy, because it's not what we're talking about here, but we can make decisions based on understanding the range within the polarity. And by gathering data, by gathering the research, we can then communicate and make steps towards the right way forward. So I hope that you appreciated this week's video on one of the dysfunctions within a team and what to do about it. Polarity is a very powerful psychological tenet. I encourage you to research it even more. I work with it a lot with our clients, and I find that a lot of times when there's a crisis going on, when there's conflict going on, when there's a stalemate on moving forward, it's often rooted in polarity. So getting to that place of seeing the merits of each positions, the ability to crowdsource and gather data, and then being able to communicate to the whole around what's going to happen now that we've heard the viewpoints of the polarities as well as gathered data through crowdsourcing. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your week.